5 officers charged with murder in Memphis police killing. 5 officers charged with murder in a Memphis police killing. Now, I might want to say that they should be categorized now as ex-police officers because they have been fired from the force. They have been terminated, and rightfully so. It's BobbieD coming to you live from the Lombard City, Philippines. Got a story today that not very pleasant at all, but it's life, and it's happening right in before your eyes. It happened on January 7th. A young man by the name of Tyre Nichols, 29 years old, on his way home, stopped for a so-called traffic violation. And needless to say, Mr. Nichols never made it home. And he'll never make it home again, except for in heaven. He was beaten brutally, and he lost his life because of the beating by the 5 police, so-called police officers, ex-officers now. Today's show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about some things that occurred, how this is reminiscent of the Rodney King happening back in the 80s, and how sadly that this keeps happening to African American men in the United States of America, and not necessarily just in the United States. It's happening all over the world. We're going to look at what's the root cause. We're going to get your input, your feedback, how you feel about it. Some of you are angry, some of you just don't care. Some of you are apathetic. You could care either way. Some of you are defending the actions of the policeman. I want to know. I want to know what's on your mind. Love Train Nation. I want to hear from you. Some of you feeling some kind of way, because I know I did. I am. I just got through looking at the live footage, the actual footage that was released by the Memphis Police Department, and it was not good. I will not show that to you. It is brutal. It is inhumane. It's heinous, and any other negative, violent adjective or adverb you can put on it. That's what it is. And sad part about it, ladies and gentlemen, this was not Caucasian officers that did the do to this young man. This was fellow so-called African American men, police officers or ex-police officers that did it. 5 men took 1 man down and beat him like a dog. Okay, and I kid you not. There's no other way to describe what we saw on the video that was shown this morning. And my time is morning, your time is evening. There's no other way to describe what happened other than say you wouldn't be a human being like that. But they did. And as a result, ladies and gentlemen, we have a 29-year-old African-American male with one child. He lived with his parents. He was a mama's boy. He loved his mother, took care of her. And he's gone. Had a very good job, worked at FedEx. Yeah. Had a very productive life. He loved skateboarding. This thing, he was a good person, a good soul. That's what all of his friends say. Yeah. Why did this have to happen this way? Now, I'm speaking this way because I don't know all the details. I only know what was shown to me on television, just as you do, and what I read in the articles in the news. But from all intents and purposes, ladies and gentlemen, this young man could have been the man or the boy next door in your neighborhood. But if you have a nice neighborhood, he could have been that person. He could have been that guy. And he just was beaten to a pulp. They beat him down to the ground. And we're going to discover why they did so. But it didn't have to go this way. We're going to look at all angles of it, because I don't know about you, but I'm still processing what just happened. Yeah, I'm still trying to come to grips with why this 29-year-old young, vibrant, full of life African American man was taken down and beaten unmercilessly, unmercifully, and he met his demise in the hospital 3 days later. And let's go ahead on, because I don't want to cry, but I feel like crying right now. Let's go. So that's what I showed you today. I want you to get in your mind how you feel about it, because sometimes when you talk about it, it helps you to deal with it. And that's what I know. I'm a psychologist. I know that when I talk about things, I express what's inside. It helps me to cope with it, what happened, just a little bit better. And this has been going on since Rodney King, and before Rodney King, and George Floyd, and before George Floyd, and it's a never-ending cycle. But what do? Do we just overlook it when it happens and say, "Oh, here we go again"? No, we talk about it. We have to recognize what was done. It is the living that have to deal with the things that were done to dead unjustly. We have to call out the evil deeds that were done to this young man, because he can't do it for himself. The living now have to cry out for Tyre. And so I'm trying to bring some light to the injustice that was done to this young man, so that the whole world might see there is issues in the United States of America. There is issues in Memphis, Tennessee, as far as police authority is going. Policemen, not all of them. We have many, many good policemen throughout this country and throughout the world, but there's some bad, rotten apples. And as we'll discover today, that's what happened. He came up on some people that did not follow the rules. And when you don't follow the rules in society, you wind up doing some things wrong, and you wind up having to pay for your wrongness. So that's what's happening to the policemen. They were fired immediately. Once they reviewed and investigated the program, saw the film, chief of police fired them. They were going to have a video on that. Let's just get started. I'm there for today. 5 officers charged. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are 5 African-American male police officers, or ex-officers now. They have been fired from the Memphis Police Department, and they should have been fired, rightfully so. The thing that I'm impressed with, as far as the Memphis Police Department leadership is concerned, that they fired them immediately. Okay, they didn't waste any time. Like most people, when something like this happens, they'll go a year for investigation, 6 months for investigating. They could drag it out. They didn't do that. They saw the injustice. They saw the inhumanity, how this young man was beaten, and they took action. So I commend the Memphis Police Department on that. However, I must say that they have failed their city. The police department has failed their city. They have failed Tyre Nichols. They have failed the community, and they have failed as policemen in the United States of America. Memphis, you got some work to do on your people, on your policemen. And we're going to talk about the unit that these guys were in. It was a very elite unit, so-called elite unit, but it was not elite in my book. There was a deadly force unit. No hocus pocus, just focus. Focus for the day, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to look at what happened, when it happened, who was deemed responsible. And we'll talk about the takeaways from this. What can we learn from this? You know, what are the lessons we must learn? And if we don't learn the lesson, we burn the lessons. Okay, we'll do it again. Anything you don't learn from in your life, you will be destined to repeat it. And that's what's happening. These young men, these 5 African-American men, did not learn the lessons from George Floyd. They did not learn the lessons from Rodney King and all the other young black men that's taken away, unrightfully taken away. They didn't learn the lessons, but they'll learn some lessons behind bars. All right, so let's go. The first thing I want to do, introduce you to Tyre family. No, let's do this. Let's just do this. I got a real brief video clip I'm going to show you. And this is the night that Tyre, this is the radio call. And I know you've seen the gory video just now on TV. I'm not going to go there with that. I think I think that we need to move up from that level. I'm not here to show you dirt and grime and how people keep. That's not my thing. My thing is to educate and enlighten on what happened for educational purposes, so that we won't, when we see wrongness, we can call it out for what it is. Okay, I don't uphold people when they're wrong, whether it's the judge, whether it's the president, whether it's your teacher in school, whether it's the police department. I don't uphold what's wrong is wrong, or right is right. If you're right, I'm with you. If you're wrong, I'm gonna come against you. That's just the way I was raised. That's just the way my mama raised me. That's how she praised me. Okay, so that's what I do. That's what I do. I I call out the wrongness and I praise the good thing. Okay, I just got through saying I called out. I identified that Memphis was wrong for these policemen. They failed the city, but I commended them on how they acted appropriately in firing these men. Okay, and now they're up on charges. Okay, so here's the video. Here's the audio call of the night Tyre was a brief clip of it, not the whole thing. I just got a clip of it. We're gonna look at that, and then I'm gonna show you a brief video with more detail. Okay, here we go. Let's go.
We got one male black running. That black male referred to on police dispatch is thought to be 29-year-old Tyre Nichols.
2938, you have eyes on that subject?
We know from reports just minutes before, officers have pulled over Nichols, they say for reckless driving at East Rains and Ross Road.
You know, the Scorpion car pulled over to East Rains and Ross.
You heard the dispatcher there call for more officers of the Scorpion unit. That unit made up of 4 teams of officers whose primary focus is reducing violent crimes in hotspot areas throughout Memphis. 2 seconds later into the tape, that message is repeated.
You know, the Scorpion car pulled over to East Rains and Ross. There's one running on foot.
Nearly 4 minutes later comes this, presumably after Nichols ran and the unit is searching for him.
Run that tag and see what the exit.
The dispatcher then replies.
To be advised, that subject resides at 6742 Castlegate.
And then it's obvious at this point that Scorpion unit has caught up with Nichols. His mother says they were just yards from the family's home. In this dispatch, you'll hear an officer and then what sounds to be Nichols trying to breathe.
So he's barricading in that breathe.
7 seconds later.
At Ross and Castlegate Lane, he's fighting at this time.
And then finally, these are.
Okay, so that's a clip of the audio that occurred on the night of January 7th in Memphis, Tennessee, Castlegate area. That's where where they stopped him, and it's a tragic moment for America and African Americans, because 5 African American policemen stopped this young man for some kind of reckless driving traffic violation. They proceeded to pull him out of the car violently, and then they just tore into him from that point forward. He then, after they pulled him from the car, he said, "What did I do? What did I do?" He said, "Calm down, calm." He was trying to calm the policemen down. They were in a frenzy. He said, "Calm down, sir, calm down, calm." And they just proceeded to take it out. So in fear of his life, what did he do? He ran. He ran, and they pepper sprayed him at that time, and they tried to tase him, but he ran. So later on, they found him, and then it was like, you ever heard, you know, they always tell you in the hood, if you run from the popo, when they catch you, you're gonna pay for it. And so that's what happened. He ran, and when they caught up with him, they took their anger, they took their frustration all out on that one young man. And one of the reasons why he was angry was because when they tried to pepper spray Tyre while he was on the ground, some of the pepper spray got into the police eyes, okay? And that angered them tremendously, okay? And also they tried to do a foot pursuit. They ran after him, and he was tired. He was like, you know, when you run so much, you get tired, you can't hardly breathe. That's how the policeman was. He was out of breath. And they said, whenever they run after you and they get tired like that, they're gonna make you pay. So that's, in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why they dealt with him so brutally as well. Simple traffic violation, traffic stop, man. And this young man lost his life. Now the question, why did Tyre run? Who knows? I don't know. I might run too if I fear for my life. He was scared. You know, when you're scared, you don't know what you're gonna do. And you got 5 people over you and beating you up. You like, wait a minute. You trying to calm them down? He ran. And he ran for his life. And they caught up with him and they proceeded to start up right where they left off. And even more angrily and more violently, because they were angry that pepper spray had gotten on them. They were angry that they had to run behind. They were tired, and they took it out on him. Okay. The level of professionalism as the Memphis Police Department is terrible from what I've seen, and that they have to make changes there. Okay, let's look at this next video. This tells you about a little bit more detail about Tyre. Those of you squeamish about seeing anything violent, you might want to look away. I'm not here to try to sensationalize anything, just give you the facts, okay? You might want to look away on this video if you're so squeamish about violent activity, okay? Here we go. The practice of Filipinos living in cemeteries is a unique and complex phenomenon.
While each of the 5 individuals played a different role in the incident in question, the actions of all of them resulted in the death of Tyre Nichols, and they are all responsible.
Memphis on edge as the investigation into 5 former police officers accused of violently beating Tyre Nichols, causing his death, takes a new turn. The Shelby County District Attorney addressing the community amid growing pressure to hold the former officers accountable. All 5 officers booked into jail, each charged with a second-degree murder, among other charges. This graphic photo shows Nichols in his hospital bed, bruised and battered after the January 7th traffic stop. He died just 3 days later. A family attorney claims police body cam footage shows the officers beat Nichols nonstop for 3 minutes, kicked him, pepper sprayed him.
Once the video started and I heard my son's voice, I lost it. I couldn't stay in the room because all I heard him say was, "What did I do?"
All 5 officers and the victim are African-American men. The officers were already fired before being charged. Memphis police advised that the body cam video will be released. Chief C.J. Davis braces the public for what to expect.
This incident was heinous, reckless, and inhumane. And in the vein of transparency, when the video is released in the coming days, you will see this for yourself.
Okay, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That shows you a very terse and succinct summary of the events that happened to Tyre Nichols on the night of January 7th, 2023. He was beaten unmercifully by 5 police officers. And as a result of the beating, this young man is no longer with us. We pray for his family, his loved ones. He has a son as well. That God will continue to take care of them and give their minds some type of relief because of this tragedy that happened to their loved one. It's a shame, man. I mean, we keep seeing the same types of events. Now, this one's a little bit different. What makes it different? We have African-American men, African-American policemen, police officers, ex-police officers now, and it took this violent course of action on another African-American man. So we're going to examine why this happened. How could this happen? And what led up to this activity? You know, because truth be told, ladies and gentlemen, if this was you, same thing could. If you're African-American, you have a target on your back, not only in the United States of America, but all over the world, baby. You better get that. I live in the Philippines. You think I feel like I'm all right because I'm a black man? Yeah, I'm a black man. I'm good. Yeah. No. Forget that, sister. Forget that, brother. Wherever you go and you got this melanated skin, this nice chocolate-looking skin, you got a target on your back. Not only because you're a black man, but you're a foreign man here in the Philippines. People are watching you every minute, every moment. Some of them, you think everybody love you because you're black? In the Philippines, now everybody don't love you because you're black. Some people hate my guts, and I know it. Most people here are very, very warm and receptive, but there are some that don't like black. And same way in the United States, many people don't like blacks there. So it can happen where you are, where I am, in any place in the world. Get that. And when you understand that, you will act accordingly. Now, the question is, why did Tyre run? I don't know. I think he was, of course, we know that he was probably afraid. Wouldn't you be afraid? You're trying to go home to your mother. She's waiting for you to come home, and you get stopped. And then when not only did he get stopped, he asked him, what did I do? They never explained why they stopped him. They're supposed to explain to you why you're being held or why you're being stopped. They didn't do that. They just assumed that he was wrong for some reason, pulled him out of the car. And after that, it was on. Okay. So could happen to me, could happen to you, could happen to anybody in their right mind. And when it happens, you'll never know what you will do until it happens to you. And that right. You will never know. I could sit here and say, well, I wouldn't have ran, Bobbie. I wouldn't have ran like he did. So I would just deal with it off. I would have just complied with their request, and I would have gave him my hand, and I would have laid on the ground. That's what I would have did, Bobbie. You can say that all you want, but you never know until that time hits you. If you have a fear of your life, and you think that might be the last time you putting your hand behind your back and laying on the ground, when you get up and go, you don't know what went on in his mind. Some say, well, Tyre, man, he was on that drug, man. He was on that crack. You know what I'm saying? He was on that crack. Yeah, okay. You got proof of that? You got evidence of that? There's no evidence that at this time, the autopsy hasn't been reviewed. I don't think they've done an autopsy yet. When they do, we'll find out. But there's no evidence to that effect. That's when we looked at the video. Those of you that looked at the video earlier this morning as they released it, you saw that the officers were saying, well, he must have been on something. He must have been high. Not necessarily true. It's not necessarily so. We don't know. And so they shouldn't even make that assumption. In my opinion, the 5 officers shouldn't even have never held a badge. The way they talked, alley talk, gutter talk, profanity, every word. And they're supposed to be professionals? No, I don't want people like that policing my area. I don't want people like that protecting me with language like that. And the violence that they held towards others, no, they need to get them off the street just like they did. And anybody else like them on that police force, get them off. Okay. Memphis got a lot of work to do. And, I'm not just singling out Memphis because there's a lot of other cities out here just like Memphis, Atlanta, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Detroit. Yeah, I can go right on down the line. All the police forces in Atlanta and in America need to tighten up. When I say tighten up, my mom said, Bobbie, you need to tighten that up. Yeah, they need to straighten it out. They need to get it right because people's lives depend on the policemen. And we want people that are professional, that will follow the rules and standards and the procedures of their profession rather than of what they feel like beating somebody up. They kicked the man in his head several times. They slapped him, they punched him, and I don't know what up, but hit him with batons over and over and over again for 3 full minutes. Can you imagine 5 men beating up on you, kicking, punching, hitting you with a baton for 3 full minutes with all the power they had? All of those men were at least 6 feet and more. They 220, 250 pounds. Okay. Tyre was every bit of 5, 6. Tyre was tall. He was tall. He was like 6'1", something like that. But he was very, very slender. He was no more than 150. He was tiny as far as weight. Had no weight on him. So he had a small frame. When you have a small frame man and you got a large frame man, 5 large frame men beating up on you, and you're defenseless, your hands are tied, handcuffed behind your back. That was wrong. That's brutality at its finest. And it has to be dealt with. And I hope they throw the book at them, whatever they do. I hope they get the maximum time if they're convicted. The question we're going to look at today is, will they be convicted? The question we're going to look at today, were they wrong for what they do? That's not need to ask you, left train. You saw the video that was released today. If you hadn't, you turn your set right now. It's being talked about right now all over America. It's a very, very hot topic, very, very important topic. And we keep saying it's a recurring theme in America. Brutality, police brutality. You know, and this time it's black on black, black policeman on a black African-American man, okay? So does that make it any different? No, brutality is brutality. Whatever color you're in, brutality is brutality. It does not change. That he's gone and he's not coming back, okay? But it's we, the living, that must remember him. It's we, the living, that must speak up for him. It's we, the living, must bring those that are accountable to justice for what they did, okay? Thank goodness that the Memphis mayor and the Memphis police chief had some sense this time. And they brought the men to justice immediately. They were locked up. All 5 of them were locked up, but they're on bond now. All of them got out on bond. They're on bail. But they will be held accountable. The district attorney is going to hold them accountable for what they did. Okay. And when America understands that people need help, be held accountable, they will settle themselves down. The problem I have is that all of them guys have body cams. They knew it was going to be being filmed, and they still did it anyway. How silly is that? Body cam footage don't lie. And they knew what they were doing. Sad day for America. Even more sad day for black African Americans in the United States. Shame. Not only the policeman force in Memphis, but shame on the race of African Americans. How could you treat your own race that way? No? Much less, how could you treat anyone that way? But it makes it look even worse when you're seeing black on black. Normally, we're used to seeing Caucasian on black crime. You know, Caucasian men beating up black men. But this time, the script was flipped. The blacks on black crime. And I just got through talking about black on black crime a few days ago, how bad it was. It's not getting any better. Yeah. But the question is, did they ever consider themselves, at that particular point in time, those police officers didn't even look at color. They didn't look at color. They didn't consider he was black, and that was not on their mind. Their mind was revenge. I'm going to get you for making me chase after you. I'm going to get you back for causing me to pepper spray myself when I was trying to pepper spray you. Okay. That's all they want. The color didn't matter in this instance. Okay. So let's just bring it down to the bare basics. Let's just get some things done there. All right, I'm gonna show you this. This is his focus. I focus on 5 officers charged with murder in Memphis, police killing. That's his mom right there, Roshawn Wells, and her husband right there. These are 5 officers, or ex-officers rather, that were charged with murder, among other crimes. Tadarius Bean on the left, Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin III, Desmond Mills Jr., and Justin Smith. Shame on you. Shame on you all. And there may be others that are going to be held accountable as well. If you saw the film today, if you saw the videotape release, you saw multiple policemen there. And nobody lifted a finger to try to assist Tyre when he needed assistance on the ground. He was in need of assistance. Hands tied behind his back, couldn't even stand. He couldn't even stick. They propped him up on the car. He was so weak, he slid down. They propped him back up. He slid down the other way, and they did nothing to assist that man. That's part of their job, to assist people when they're in distress. You know why they didn't assist him? Because they wanted him to die. They wanted him to hurt. They wanted him to feel pain. They wanted him to feel anger as they were angry. But he couldn't feel nothing. He was out. He was unconscious. And the part I don't like is that when the EMTs came there, they did nothing. Their job was to immediately provide assistance and medical assistance. They did nothing. They stood around and looked and talked and laughed at the policemen. 2 of those guys, EMTs, have been fired as well, and rightfully so. That's a shame. They were failed on, Tyre was failed on multiple levels. It was failed by the community. He was failed by the policemen. He was failed by the medical society, EMTs. Yeah. And this is the strange part about it. If you saw the video today, you saw the area that they beat him up in. It was a nice area in Memphis. Very nice. You look at the yards, well groomed. One house had a big RV with a Mercedes-Benz RV. When have you ever seen a Mercedes-Benz RV sitting on the side of the street in front of the house? This was a nice, well-kept, well-groomed area. Normally you would think this is a lower class slum area, but no. And the part that just baffled me, no one came out. None of the residents of that community came out of their houses to lend assistance or to see what's going on. Nobody. So Tyre was also failed by his community as well. His fellow citizens. They just sat and looking through the curtains. Oh, what are they doing? If that happened in my neighborhood, I would have been out of my house and said, what's going on, sir? What's happening? I would have said, what can I do? What? Stop. Something. They did nothing. Failures on all levels. And as a result of the failures, the multiple failures, we have an African-American man that has met his demise at the hands of African-American ex-police officers, and rightfully so. Now, I'm going to bring this to your attention. These police officers or ex-police officers were members of an elite unit. That unit was called the Scorpion Unit. Now, if you live in any metropolitan city in America, you know a lot of the major cities, especially if there's a lot of blacks in that city, they're going to have these little specialized units, and they go out every so often, and they say their aim is to cut the crime in certain areas. But we know as well as what it means. We're going to crack down on these kind of people because all they know is brute force. All they need is brutality. That's the mentality. That's the thinking that goes behind these creations of these specialized units. Beat them down. They even look like they're going to run some drugs. Beat them down. That's the mentality. I'm sure they didn't give that as what they should do, but that's the mentality that they're training these people as. In Atlanta, where I lived in Atlanta, they called that unit. They had a unit out there. I'm not sure if it's still there, but it's called the Red Dog Unit. Yeah, that's how they give them these bad names. They want them to be bad cops, And in this particular Memphis, they called their unit of the bad guys, tough cops, Scorpion. Okay, I'm gonna read you some stuff from about the Scorpion unit in a minute. But all of these units that have these tough connotations, names, and so forth are meant to scare you and to make you think that you have to behave, or So there's a lot of good things about these units and a lot of bad things. The bad things they perpetrate a lot of hidden crimes in the community. You ever heard of Dirty Harry back in the day? Well, that's the mentality these units have. They made us special, and we got more authority than the regular cops. So we can do what we want to do, and they're not going to do nothing. That's what these guys thought. Yeah. And if you watch the film today, the release of the videotape, I was sickened by their language. Every word, F-U, S-H, M-F, every word came out of the officer's mouth. What type of professionalism is that? It's sickening, man. Sad. I'm sad. I'm sad for Memphis and the people that have to live under that kind of police enforcement department. I feel for them. Yeah. Every word, you're going to arrest a man, you're going to put your hand behind your back, MF and all that. Oh my God. That's a shame. And the whole world sees this. Sad. Let's take a look at this. Here we go. If you see the top left-hand corner, you see that's the Red Dogs in Atlanta, running with the Red Dogs. That's what they call them. That was their unit. I'm not certain if that unit still in existence, but it was when I lived there. And every time you heard when you heard the Red Dogs, you heard somebody going to be in the hospital, because that's what they did. They took them out. They put a hurting on them, beating on them, so that you wouldn't even think about doing what you're going to do again, what you did again. That's what the nature, or that was the reputation of that unit. Okay. So this in Memphis, they would call it what? The Scorpion. You see a big scorpion right there? So I'm gonna talk to you about what is the Scorpion unit. The Memphis Police Task Force is at the center of Tyre Nichols' death. The Memphis Police Unit at the center of his death earlier this month has now come under scrutiny from the critics over the approach in fighting crime. The Scorpion Unit, which stands for Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhood. Yeah, right. No, it should stand for booty. It should stand for brutality. That's what y'all did. You beat the man to death. The street crime, this was announced on October 2021 and launched a month later. It encompasses 40 officers split into 4 teams who patrol high crime hotspots throughout the city. This police department announced in November 2021. The police department announced in November 2021. The Memphis Police Department Assistant Chief Sean Jones told reporters during the launch that Scorpion officers would focus on auto thefts, gang-related crimes, and drug-related crimes. Did y'all see anything there about traffic stops? Did you see anything about traffic violations? Anybody see that? No. So they're out of their range. They're out of their range. They're out of their level of the policing. They weren't in the right road. They weren't in the right lane. Okay. They stopped it for a traffic violation. Okay. All right, we're gonna open this thing up. That's all I got for you on that. We'll ride the train real quick. Find out who's up in this place with us today. We ain't playing no game. We ain't taking no prisoners. I will need your comments. I need your questions. I need concerns. Some of you are still processing this situation just as I am. And it takes me a while. When I see things like this, and I've seen a lot of it, it takes me time to process it, to come to grips with it. And what I try to do is stay away from the actual video, if they have a video of it. So I watched it a little bit. I won't watch it anymore, because the more I watch it, the angrier I'll get, and I'll become more inflamed about it, and I don't need to go there, okay? So I know what happened, and I have to voice about it, just like you. Many of you should, if you don't, because you have to get things out. You're African-American man. You say, well, this didn't affect me. It don't affect me at all, BobbieD. I want him. I didn't do that. He did that. That's what he get. Fool. If it affects one of us, it affects all of us. You know why? I am my brother's keeper, and so are you. If you're not, you're a fool. Well, let's go. Ride Train, BobbieD, One Nation, Group, One Love. Who we got up in this place today? I need your comments. I need your concerns. I need your questions. We need some comment. We need some feedback, Love Train. What happened? How do you feel about it? You all right with that? Are you all right with what happened to Tyre Nichols, 29-year-old African-American? Was beat down to the ground with 5 policemen. Are you all right with that? How do you feel about that? Does that make you feel good? Does that make you feel sad? Make you feel angry? Tell me. I need to know. And what can we do to prevent this from happening to other young men out there, African American or Caucasian American or Latino American or Asian? Yeah, what's going on in America? Is this where we are? Brutality? Is this where we are when an African American man stops at a traffic light? He fears for his life. Is that where we are? How can we get out of this situation? Let's go. Ride Train, BobbieD, One Nation, Group. Smooth Sound, first man up in the house today. What's up, Smooth? You good, man? He said, hello, team. What's up? What's up? What's up? Good to see you. Give us prop. Ride Train, BobbieD, One Nation, Smooth Sound. He said, I hope those 6 monsters, not men or officers, fry. Okay. He laid it right out there, man. He said, I hope they fry. Yeah. Man. And he wants the worst for them. I don't know if they have the death penalty in Memphis, Tennessee or not. But in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, they need to get the worst possible sentence they can get. Okay, whatever that is on the books, if it's appropriately due, and the judge and the jury found that they are guilty, that's what they should get, the highest penalty possible. It reports that they laughed as the man they killed cried, and there may have been some sexual assault. Now, I didn't see any sexual assault, so let's get that straight. I saw the video today. I didn't see any sexual assault. Okay. And I did not see, I saw them talking about the fighting and the running and so forth. I don't know about them laughing, but they may have, but I didn't see that part. But I didn't see any sexual assault. Let's get that straight. Let's keep with the facts and not with what we heard. Let's stick with the facts. I go by what I saw in the video today. I did not see any sexual assault. It may be, I don't know, but I didn't see it on the video that was released. But as you mentioned, first part of your statement, I do hope these men get the highest penalty that is available if they are convicted. And the question is this: we're assuming, we're assuming that these men will be what? Convicted. Yeah. That don't go there. Don't go there yet. Look about Breonna Taylor, huh? And the people that killed her got convicted. They got off the hook. Okay, so these 5 men may never get convicted. But the thing about this, here's the difference between the people that killed Breonna and the people that killed and these 5 men. Color. Usually, if you're an African American, you're gonna get the short end of the stick when it comes to crime, when it comes to conviction, when it comes to sentencing. Yeah, you're gonna get the. But if you were Caucasian, you would get the benefit of the doubt. Look at Derek Chauvin. He's sitting up in jail cell, but he's alive, right? Let's go. Right train by the East One Nation. Lamont Taylor made in the house. What's up, Taylor Mills? Second man up. Number 2 won't do, but you just fine. He said, this is what happened when you get brainwashed by BobbieD. By under the same, he don't mean brainwashed by me, y'all. He said, BobbieD, this is what happened when you get brainwashed under the same system. I got your point, Taylor made. He's exactly correct, ladies and gentlemen. This is when you're talking about brainwashing, you're talking about a what? Mentality, okay? You're talking about a police mentality. They were brainwashed in a police mentality that they are no longer color. The color is not in their genre. They're not color. They're colorless. They're looking at their policeman, their badge. That's all they're looking at, okay? And so when they tried to approach this young man, they weren't looking at his color. They were looking at he's a criminal, and he really wasn't a criminal. He was just he had not come. He's in this country. You're only guilty and you're what until you're what convicted of a crime. He wasn't convicted of any crime, but in their mind, the crime that he was guilty of was making them run after them. The crime that he was guilty of was causing them to shoot pepper spray in their face, and that's what they was angry about. That's why they beat him like a dog. Ever since I was a kid, man, I always heard when the policemen run after you, if you make them chase you, you're gonna pay at the end of that. You're gonna pay. And I saw it as a kid, man. I was traumatized as a kid by it. I saw an African-American policeman in my city of Charleston, South Carolina, lock up an African-American man, and man, he beat the stuffing out that man. And this was the first thing he said when he caught him. He got him by his back with belt by back of the belt buckle, belt in the back of his pants, got him on the back of the pants, pushed him down the ground, and said, "You under arrest, you under GD arrest. Put your MF hand behind your back," and he proceeded to beat the stuffing out. African American, black on black. Okay, so that's why when it comes to a situation like this, I'm highly, highly incensed about it. Let's go ride train BobbieD DC One Nation and go up. Murphy, hey, what's up, Murphy? He said, "Hello, family. Congratulations, Smooth Sound. Smooth Sound number 1 in the house today. Ride train BobbieD DC One Nation and go up. Smooth Sound." He said, "What's up, Mr. Hey, you good, man? Ride train, who we got?" Murphy, he said, "When I applied for the police department, I went through a creepy interview and a lie detector test, and I wasn't hired, and they refused to tell you why you don't get hired. They only hire police with certain mindsets." I got you, man. The police do have a lot of different tests that they give you. I've never applied for a police officer. One time I applied for a guard back in the state penitentiary one time, but I didn't get. They never even called me for an interview. That's how far I got on that. But they have a lot of different tests and mental tests, emotional tests, psychological tests you have to go through. And if you don't fit that particular profile, you forget it. So something you did. Does that mean you're a bad person? That you're crazy or psycho? No. It just means that they looked at something that they thought they deemed was inappropriate, or they deemed that didn't fit their mold. Okay, and they might have the bad mold for all we know. So don't feel bad that you didn't make it. It was a blessing. It was a blessing because you made it some other way. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not cut out to be that. I wouldn't want to be a police officer today because everybody despises you, and it's a very, very difficult job. And let's just thank all of those police officers that are listening to this video and out there in America right now, the ones that are good. Okay, I want to thank all of the ones that are good. And there's more good than bad out there, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank all of the good cops that's doing a good job. minding their business, no hassling people, not taking no money, not on a bribe. I want to thank you for being decent and honest, law-abiding officers and law-abiding citizens. Let's go. Ryan Train, who we got? Murray, yeah, I got you, man. With the bad mindset. Ryan Train, who we got? Smooth. He said, I was 11 the first time. I was 11 the first time I saw a cop. Okay, I think I was, how old was I? I can't remember, 9 or 10, maybe something like that. I mean, I was about 12 years old. That's when we had moved to Cumming Street. However, whatever age you are, I was in the 4th grade. Whatever age you are at that time, that's how old I remember I was in the 4th grade. He said, I was 11 the first time I saw a cop choke the life out of a man by the name of Melvin here in Tampa, Florida. Melvin had severe autism, and see, that's a shame, man. He choked the life out of him. He choked him to death, or he just choked him. I hope he didn't die, man. But you know, all of these things that happen in your community, they stay with you. I talked to you several days ago about how childhood trauma events can have an effect on you as you grow later in life, growing later in life. And you know, I have overcome that trauma that happened to me by seeing a man beat up the other man. But every now and then, I see it in my mind. I can see it right now. And you know, I have dealt with the pain that I felt with it because I felt so bad for the man. He beat the man. The man had big lip, everything. The man couldn't even open his eye. And they had the nerve not to even call an ambulance. They just pushed him in the back of the seat and took him downtown. Yeah, you just don't do that, man. So that has always left me with a bad taste in my mouth about policemen. You know, and what the problem? I cleared it up in mind. At one point, it was all policemen are bad. Every last one. That's what I had in my mindset. But I have cleared it up to a point where not all of them are bad. It's just the ones that did that was bad. Now, that's how I dealt with it, and I move on. I don't hold all police accountable now. Let's go, Ron Train. Who we got? Smooth. He's in Melvin here. Melvin was having a seizure at the monster, and that monster cop choked him. Said he was resisting slams, his head on his ground. Melvin died. Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Back of the seat. Back of the cop's car. That's a shame, man. I hope those cops got some time for that. But, you know, depending on how long ago, because back in the day, whatever a cop did, you know, they most of the time, whatever they did, they got away with it back in the day. You know, they didn't have any body cam for proof. And you better not say nothing wrong against the cop in court if you saw it. But they're gonna hassle you next, you know? That's the way it worked back then. It's changing now. And you would think, ladies and gentlemen, that with the invention and with the use of body-worn cameras or body cams, that the policemen would adjust their behavior, their negative and their violent behavior, police brutality. But as we can see, evidence here and many times before, they don't do it. They don't give a flip. And that's why would they not restrain themselves when knowing they're under camera? Because they're enraged. The anger takes them over. They don't care who's looking, what's looking, they just do it. They strike out. So best lesson learned here. If you ever get stopped, try to be calm, comply as much as possible, and you might just survive if you're African American. If you're Caucasian, you'll probably be all right. But if you're African American, the odds are that you will probably be hassled. If they pull you out of the car, you better start praying. You better comply, because when you pulled out of that car, they pulled you out for a reason. Okay, and that's because they're angry, they're fired up, and want to take it out on somebody. And you just got pulled out the car, so you're the prime subject to take my anger out on. That is the mentality of the policeman when it comes to African American men. Now, women, sometimes they're a little bit lighter on the women, but they can do a woman the same way. You know, it just depends on the training they have, how they adhere to their training. Many of the policemen, once they're on the streets, all of that training they got in the classroom, all of that leaves them. They just function like another person, and they think that they're better than you, they're above you, and they can do what they want to because they got a badge and a gun. They have a license to kill. They have a license to beat down, and that's what they do sometimes. Let's go around train BobbieD. Who we got? Murphy Hayes. What's up, Murphy? He said two police officers vicious beat my oldest brother. He was coming home from school on his new bike, and my dad bought him. They thought he stole the bike, even though when my brother told how he got it. Yeah, man, that's a shame. And I hope your dad went down there and got on the policeman and went to internal affairs and reported that policeman. You know, that's a shame how people do, man. I've been stopped a lot of times, and people, and I've been very, when I used to work for Verizon, and I would go all over the country and all over Atlanta, and Georgia, and everywhere else, and I've got stopped so many times, man. You talk about somebody, fear would go over me every time I would get stopped, and the first thing I would do when I see the blue lights in the rearview mirror, I slow down, go over to the right, cut my car off, put my hands out the window. Say, no weapons, sir, no weapons. Because I know if I act a fool, if I do anything unusual, they're going to take it out on me, man. So that's what they do. The most cops react as if you're guilty. And you're not necessarily guilty until proven guilty, but they act as you're guilty and not innocent. They just take you down. Let's go around train by see who we got. But I do have a deep hatred for all cops of any race, and I do not believe that there are any good cops anywhere. Okay, let's talk about that. I held that same belief at one point in my life, as I just mentioned to you. I had a traumatic experience as a young kid. I saw the policeman mistreated an African American man brutally. And after that point, I didn't like policemen. I didn't like them, and I didn't want to be around them. And because I knew I saw something bad, I saw the bad side. I didn't see no good. I saw the bad. And so for a long time, I held that thought until I realized that, all of them can't be bad. All of them are not bad. It's just the one that I saw did what they did. And when I realized that, because I met policemen when going to school, on jobs, some of them have part-time jobs, and then I had a lot of people in security. And I realized, hey, you can't hold it on everybody. It's only some people like that. So I'm hoping that at some point in your life, you might come to the same realization, Smooth, because there's good people, there's good policemen out there, believe it or not. And sometimes, the more you see these heinous crimes like this, the more you would tend to believe that all of them are like that. But I had that thought, same as you, at one point in my life, but God delivered me. Yeah, He delivered me from that spirit of thinking that all cops are bad. And that's all you need, deliverance in that area. And if you pray about it, man, you'll get it. Let's go ride train by the least one nation of love. Smooth. So I never really talk about part of the reason how or why I lost my right eye. Okay. When I was 17, I was set up. The guy hit me with the brass knuckles several times. I was in the hospital overnight. Okay. So he's coming to grips about an issue where he was damaged as physical injury as a result of a setup. He was mugged, and it caused him to lose an eye. Okay. And that's sad story. So I'm telling you, man, people have things, they have trauma in their lives, and it's hard to break and shake that stuff sometimes, but you got to deal with that. I'm sorry that happened to you. It's very hard to deal with something like that when you lose a part of your senses, your sight. It's hard, man. There's no question about that. I don't know about it. You know about it, but I can imagine that it is hard. And I would imagine that it'd be very traumatic to lose your sight in one of your eyes. So that would leave you in some kind of way. But you got to work through that, man. You got to work through that. And I'm sure if you come to some point in your life where you can move on from it, maybe you've not totally released it yet. And it's okay, man. Sometimes it takes time, more time for other people to do things than others, But I'm glad that you can talk about it now, because a lot of times people don't want to talk about it because it brings back those hard memories. But when you can talk about it and the memories don't come back on you, that's where you're beginning to overcome it and to deal with it in a positive manner. Let's go ride train, Bobby. Who we got? Smooth. I found out 9 years later, my grandmother and one of my sisters paid a police officer to help set me up. What? Your grandmother? My grandmother and one of my sisters paid a police officer to set me up. They paid a police officer to set you up and have somebody beat you? What? Oh, gosh. And the real intention was to disable me to get... That's even worse. Did y'all hear what he said? His grandmother and one of his sisters paid a police officer to help set him up, to get somebody to mug him and to hit him in his eye with brass knuckles over and over until he lost his sight. And their real intention was to disable him to get his SSI. So he was a young kid, okay? And his mother, evil woman she was, grandmother rather, evil, according to Smooth, we don't know for sure, we just going by what he's alleging. She had somebody, she paid a police officer to get somebody to set him up and take away his vision in his right eye. That's sad, man. Just because they want to soak that, oh Lord. That is so evil. That is so, now I understand, I'm beginning to see where you, I'm beginning to see where this dislike of your family members is coming from. You have some very, very evil family members. For them to do something like that to you, that's the epitome of evilness. That's the epitome of non-caring. That's the epitome of no love. You know? So I understand. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is an example of what I'm telling you. Many of us had good raising, upbringing. We had decent families. There's no perfect raising, but he had some very, very evil people in his life. Did some things that you should never do to a child. Okay, nobody should set anybody up to take just for Social Security money, so SSI or disability money. Who does that, man? That is so evil, man. And so I understand what you feel and how you feel now. This type of activity, this type of trauma can take years to get over. You may never get over this. You know, it takes a lot of therapy. You know, if you've been doing self-therapy, you probably need some professional therapy, you know, because this is very hard issue in life to deal with. When your families are supposed to do what? Nurture you, love you, care for you, support you, you know, praise you, lift you up when you're down. That's what families are for, right? They're not supposed to help somebody take your eye out. They're not supposed to beat you, have you set up like that. You know, so I understand where you're coming from when you said nobody cares for you and your family, that you don't want to see them. That could take some time for you to get over that, man. You may never get over it, but that takes a lot of prayer, understanding, and you know, that God will move some of that hatred out of your heart, because it's not the hatred you have for them will only come to you and roost in your nest, okay? Because when you hate people, it affects your emotions. It affects you psychosomatically, your body. You know, so you got to get rid of that hate. You know, and to get rid of the hate, you got to deal with the pain. You get rid of pain, you get rid of hate, and then you can move on with your life. And that. Remember here, he said, "Okay, hold on, this thing's acting up." He said, "I saw two cops pull a man over during a traffic stop. The man had a seizure and couldn't respond. They pulled him out through the window, breaking his arm. You could hear the arm breaking. You could see the arm breaking. He was black." Okay, yeah, it happens, man. I would imagine, I would surmise that many African Americans have seen them form or fashion or shape some type of police brutality if you're grown up in an African American community, because they have these little units. As I just told you, I showed you two of them. Red dog. When I was coming up in Atlanta, that's the worst thing you could do is let a red dog get on your case. You're gonna feel it. When they get through with you, man, you ain't gonna want to wish you was alive. That's how they did. You know? They had a bad reputation. And so we see that the unit in Memphis, Tennessee, the Scorpion, was the same thing. You know, they had that bad reputation coming down on people. So, and it happens more often than not, ladies and gentlemen, in the African American or minority communities versus the Caucasian or middle class units, you know, or higher class unit areas. Okay, so you know, this is part of the Black experience. You got to deal with brutality, black on black crime. You got to deal with that too. You know, it happens too. Not just police on black crime, black on black crime. People in your neighborhood, they act a fool a lot because they drink. They ain't got no money, but they got money to buy liquor, right? And they act a fool every Friday night when they get paid. It's gonna be some hell raising in the city, you know, in the hood. You know, that's what happens, man. That's a part of the African American experience that we as African Americans with this color in our skin have to deal with. A lot of the Caucasians don't have to deal with it. They may have some altercation, but not shooting and cutting them like most of our areas do. Let's go around, BobbieD. Who we got? Ken, what's up, Ken? Ken, I'll go in the house. What's up, Ken? Long time no see, man. You good? He said, go to show you what America's become. I can't wait to get up here. Okay, I understand, man. I hear that sentiment, Ken, with many fellow Americans, African Americans especially. They're disgusted with the United States of America. They hate the police, how they're policing their areas. The things that you go through every day, it makes you feel less than a man, you know. And so we want many African Americans are leaving, and they want to find a better place to live. You know, many of you think that I left here for that reason. Not really. I left the United States because I had a woman I loved. I wanted to be with her. That's why I left. You know? But many people think I was trying to escape the United States. No, I wasn't that. Because you know, to be honest, man, wherever you go in this world, it's gonna be some stuff. Cause if you African American, you black man, it's gonna be some stuff. I don't care where you go. Out here, you know, it's nice out here. Most people are nice, very nice. And they treat you with respect. But there's some that hate your color. Okay, I'm telling you, man. I just first part of this year, I ran up on something like that. I ain't gonna tell you a story, but DD know me and Lisa D had to deal with it though. We dealt with it, and we dealt with it in an intelligent manner, and we didn't go the violent way. We dealt with it smart. And so, but yeah, wherever you go in this world, man, it's going to be some people who come against you because of your color, and you got to know how to deal with it when it happens and not stoop to their level of living, their level of thinking, their level of mentality. Don't go there with them. Let's go around, Jay. Who we got? Smooth. He said, how you doing, Mr. Uncle? You good, man? So good to see you around, Train. BobbieD, DC, One Nation, a groove of love. Ken Uncle, Smooth. What's up, man? I'm hanging in there. You good, man? So good, so good, so good. Smooth. Good, man. Good to hear from you, man. Ryan Train, BobbieD, DC, One Nation, a groove of love. Smooth. Murphy, he said, YouTube held your comment because of the curse word. Smooth rescinded without the curse word. Smooth. Okay. So YouTube is cutting down. So that's why, you know, y'all know my policy. No cursing. Okay. You know, you might say H or something like that, and that's okay, but don't use the curse word if possible. Try to use something else. Instead of say that crap, that SH, say that crap or something like that, but don't use the curse, because that's my policy on the show, first of all. Secondly, YouTube has a policy cracking down this year on profanity, all kind of crazy stuff. If you like that video I showed with the boy in Tyre in the hospital, if I didn't put that disclaimer at the front that viewer discretion is right, they could crack down on me for that. So they're very, very cautious now, and rightfully so. The ads that we talked about it yesterday with Markel, the ads are losing ad revenue because they're not policing what people are showing on the video. So they're doing more policing of what people are saying on these live streams and what we're showing on the live stream and the regular videos as well. Be careful what you say, guys, because it could come back to haunt you and to bite you. Okay, let's go. Who we got? Smooth sound. He said, oh, the cop that helped my grandmother and sister was killed. Okay. My grandmother died in pain from cancer. Okay. My sister's living from pillow to post. Wow. So that tells you that what goes around sometimes comes around. Is that what the moral of that story? You know, I think that's what it is. You know, when you do evil, you're gonna get it back. You know, you may not even realize why you're getting all that pain and suffering. But when you reflect on your life and what you did, you know, why would you do that to somebody? Why would you disable somebody that supposedly you're supposed to love? Your little blood, flesh and blood, you know, your grandmother. I mean, she wasn't a step grandmother. She was a blood grandmother. Why would she do that to her child's offspring? You know, it saddens my heart that either of them got killed and all like that. The cop got killed and all like that. But, you know, it is what it is, and you have to deal with whatever you do. Whatever you do comes back to you in life sometimes. I just believe that. Let's go. You reap what you what? I hear y'all. You reap what you what? So let's go around chain, BobbieD. Who we got? Smooth. He said, what's up, Miss Hayes? You good, man? Okay. Round chain, who we got? Murray, it's super bad policing in the departments go for aggressive officers. Yeah, they go for at least all, from what I read and what I saw on the internet, all 5 of these officers had at least 6 years of service on duty, and they had a this history of being aggressive and getting a lot of convictions, or not excuse me, take that back, a lot of arrests rather than convictions. Because just because you're arrested don't mean you will be convicted. They had a high arrest rate. Okay, so that's what they look for, aggressive officers that had a lot of high arrest rate. And really, that's not the way to do it. Because just because you have a high arrest rate don't mean you arrested those people properly. Could have beat their stuffing out of them. Did they look at that? Did you look how many complaints they had on them? Yeah. Because a lot of times people with high arrest rates have a higher complaint rate as well. Yeah. And so could it be that they chose people that had high arrest rates and high complaint rates? And that's why we got these 5 bad apples. They had these 5 bad apples on the street, policing the streets of Memphis. I've been to Memphis. It's a nice city. Some parts of it is nasty, like every other big city, but some parts are beautiful. You know, I like it. I like it. It's a nice city. It really is. But I wouldn't want to live there after seeing how they policed this young man. I wouldn't. I would not want to live in Memphis. Okay, let's go around train. Who we got? Smooth sound. He said the tumor that grew behind my eye was caught in time. Okay, yeah, tumor behind. Okay, I could have died, all because some woman wanted my SSI money. Lucky for me, all I lost. Okay, okay. So from what I'm understanding, they had somebody, your mother and your sister had a policeman set you up to get beat with brass knuckles. Guy had brass knuckles beating you down, and you lost the sight in your eye, and you had a tumor on the eye, and they caught the tumor in time. Thank goodness, and you were saved. You lost the vision, but you were saved. Your life was saved. That's a blessing. Okay. Every time you hear something like that, it's usually a blessing on the other side. Everything that happens to you, you got to look for the good, and you ain't got to look for the bad and the ugly, because it's gonna look you in the eye. But you have to look hard to see the good of it. So this the good thing is that he didn't lose his life because of the tumor. He's still around. Grandma's gone. The policeman is gone too, and his sister is living from pillar to post. She living hand to hand every day. Can you hear me? You know. So whatever you do in this life, ladies and gentlemen, has a tendency to come back on you. Okay, so try to sow those seeds of goodness, positivity, love, kindness. Help somebody, man. Each one, teach one, man. And see what you get some of that kindness back to you. Let's go. Ryan Train, BobbieD, see one nation under the group, love. Smooth sound. You said, Mr. Hayes, I was hired out, but I left. I was hired out, but I left. I refused to help court people with 255 tickets. And my hatred, okay, I got to go back and read this again because I'm getting confused on this. Let's try it again. Mr. Hayes, I was hired out. Okay, what do you mean hired out? Okay, so I don't understand that part. Let's continue. But I left because I refused to help court people with $225 tickets. Okay, my hatred for, okay. So I'm trying to understand. So he had a job where he was working for his company. And he left the job because he had to catch people with that had $25 tickets, and he had hatred for all cops too. That was so deep, so he left. So he couldn't because he had to catch people that had tickets, and he didn't want to stay with the job, and he just, because of hatred for cops and being doing anything like a cop, he just left that job. So I'm assuming he was a security guard or something like that. We'll see. Let's go around chain. Who we got? Frederick Mason, what's up, Perry? How you doing? He said, what's going on, Love Train? My family, y'all doing good, man. Y'all doing good this evening. Hey, we doing good, blessed, and highly favored. We just glad to be in the land of the living, my guy. We have a brother that's gone, and he didn't have to go out that level. He didn't have to go that way. He asked them, what did I do? They didn't even answer his question. They just proceeded to beat the life out of him. And so it's a sad day, but we have to remember what happened to him, so that we can do some way or form or fashion ensure that it may not happen to another African American, Asian American, or Caucasian American. Because, truth be told, Black people are not the only people that get hurt and killed. Caucasians get hurt too by policemen, and Asians too, Latinos too. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just a Black thing. It is a everybody thing. Okay, let's go. Ryan Train, who we got? Murphy, hey, what up, Sir Mason? You good, man? You good? You good? Yeah, I'm good, man. Good to see you. Ryan Train, who we got? Frank Mason, what it do, Sir Hayes? You all right, man? Smooth sound, you good? Ryan Train, BobbieD, one nation, a group of love. Murphy, hey, wall to wall, treetop tall, Sir Mason, I'm in there, man. I'm all up in that thing. Let's go, Ryan Train, BobbieD, who we got? Smooth sound. He said, this was 1981 when Melvin here died. The cop was giving a chance to just leave, and he was still given his full retirement. Okay, so a policeman choked an African American man to death. The African American was mentally impaired to some degree, autistic or whatever, and the policeman still had a full career, and he was given an opportunity to leave. But he went on and got his full retirement pay and everything. So he's still living good, and the young man's gone. So that tells you, man, life is not fair. Okay, it's just not fair. But nobody wants to get the short end of the stick. So whenever you're dealing with a policeman, the best advice I can give you: comply as much as possible. Unless you see your compliance will lead to your fatality. that's a different issue. And I assume, I don't know, that this young man, Tyre, may have felt that if he complied, he would be gone. We don't know. When you got 5 people over you and you just one man, yeah, and they beating the hell out of you, excuse my word, they beating the heck out of you, and you like, man, you don't know what's going to happen next. You were just trying to go home. You know, we don't know. But let's also, we have to be cautious. And because we haven't heard the other side of the story. There's always 2 sides to the story, right? Your side, my side, and then the third side, the right side, and God's side, right? We heard the Tyre side, okay? We haven't heard the Popo side yet. We know what God's side said, thou shalt not kill. That's God's side. So we got to determine what the Popo said. Well, you know, can I just tell you what they're gonna say? Well, you know, I was scared, man. I thought he was on that. I thought he was on that crack, man. You know, he wouldn't stop it. I told him to give me his hand. He wouldn't comply. You know, so I had to do some brute force. Then that's what they trained us. That's what you're gonna get. And that's what Derek Chauvin and the other cops said. You know, I was fearful of my life, sir. I was fearful of my life, sir. And he had, and George Floyd was on the ground, handcuffed, and he had a knee on his neck. But I was so scared of my life, sir, and I had to put my knee on his neck, and I was scared. Don't fly with me, and I hope it don't fly with the jury as well. Let's go around train, BobbieD, one nation, going love. Very amazing. So hey, you made it on the train today, man. First thing out. Yeah, he here today. No, he didn't make it first. It was Smooth Sound was first today, man. Smooth Sound, #1 honcho in his house. Round train, BobbieD. Who we got? Murphy, no sir, Smooth. Yeah, Smooth. Man. He did that thing, man. He did it right, tight, long, strong. Hey, man, I don't care how you get here, but get here if you can. Get here, man. Get on the train, okay? You'll be all right. Whatever go on in your life, get on the train. Get some of this love. L to the O to the B, love train. That's why they call us the love train, man. They don't call us the police brutality train. We're not going to mess you up. We're going to straighten you out. Each one reach one, each one teach one. We talk about issues in life that will help us deal with the issues, help us cope with it. I don't know about y'all, man, but I'm feeling some kind of way about the situation. Every time I see something like this happens on the airwaves, it makes me feel, I don't know, demoralized. You know, it makes me feel a little low. You know, why would somebody, I did, and these are African American, that's what part that bothers me. I'm used to seeing, you know, Caucasians brutally taking care of us, beating us, and all that. That's okay. It's never okay. But I have come to terms, to grips with that, and know that happens often. But seeing your own people do it, man, it's a little bit hard for me, you know. But you know, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, when they dealt with Tyre, it wasn't a matter of them looking at his race. They didn't even look at their race. They were like Taylor May said, they were brainwashed into a system, an institution called police. And so the only thing they know is that they are higher than you. They don't even look at their own color. They just know that they are higher than you, and they have the authority and force to beat you and treat you like they want to, because they got that badge, and because they got that gun, and because they got that baton, they can do what they want to do. That's what they were doing. And they got so caught up in the anger because they had sprayed themselves. They are trying to spray Tyre. They sprayed themselves, the pepper spray, and then they had to run. Whenever a policeman tried to have to run after you, oh Lord. And they catch you, when they catch you, you're gonna pay for it, man. Y'all better get that in your mentality. Ride train, BobbieD, who we got? Who? He said, good train. Don't get upset. But I did put 2 cops on the disabled list for life. What? Come on, man. I love you just again. You playing with me, right? Don't play with me, Smooth. He said, good train. Don't get upset. But I did put 2 cops on the disabled list for life. These cops tried to take my daughter out of my truck. What? Smooth, yeah. Be careful, my brother, because this is live TV, live internet, man. Anything you say might be held against you. I'm going to read you your Miranda Act. Hey, man, but I don't know about that, man. But let's be careful, man. Be careful what you say, man, because somebody, you did what? they come look over you. Let's go ride train, BobbieD. Who we got? Murphy, he said, I don't respect cops, but I don't get unruly with them. I have better sense. Yeah, man. You know, I used to didn't respect. I didn't like them. I want to be around them. You know, and you tell me, to this day, man, I'll be honest with you. You know, I dealt with my trauma about them, but to this day, If you tell me, you know about you, I said, man, how you doing? We meet you. Hey, what you do? I'm a policeman. I said, okay. And my mind going, and I go back to that time. And then I say, okay, I got to get over that. But I do what you right, but I'm not going to be your buddy because you told me something that I just don't. I know that I might wind up going in a flashback mode and treating you wrong. So, but I'll treat you fine. But as far as me hanging out with you, being my buddy, nah, I ain't doing that. But when it comes to traffic stop, I told you over and over again, I've been stopped. I don't know how many times. You know, it's a part of my job. They think I ride a big Yukon SUV, man, looking good, and a black man, and I be on big upper class, high price areas and stuff. What are you doing with that brand new? What are you doing? And they stop me. Huh? I've been stopped so many times, man, and every time it never makes me feel any better. I just put up my hand and said, "No weapon, sir." And I have my license already, and my registration already, and then I have my ID from Verizon. Because I know the routine, yeah. And I would imagine if I was Caucasian and doing the same job, I wouldn't be stopped as much, maybe sometimes, but not as much. Let's go ride train, BobbieD, One Nation, a Groom of Love. Perry Mason, he said, congrats to you, sir. Eyes on you. First man on a love train today. Riding high, ain't playing, man. Smooth sound, got a lot of things going on in his life, but he made it to the love train. What about you, mister? Smooth, he said, thank you, sir, Mr. Mason. Ride train, BobbieD, One Nation, a Groom of Love. Murphy, hey. He said, wow. I remember Smooth saying the grandmothers were trying to murder him. I remember the story, sir, Smooth. You are in my prayers, Daddy. Yeah, let's pray for Smooth, man. He got a lot of demons that are dealing with his psyche and dealing with his memory and with his mind. And we need to pray for him that God would bring him deliverance. Does it mean he's crazy now? No. He just got some issues that many of us never even dreamt about. But does that mean he can't overcome them? Of course he can. With prayer and with understanding. And sometimes he may need a little bit of therapy because he had some heavy stuff that went down with him, man. It's amazing that he still got his right mind, you know? And this stuff happened to him at a young age. The more tender you are, the more harder it affects you later on in life, okay? So he's doing well considering his upbringing. So we want to praise God for his mentality is right, his mind is right. And we want to continue to pray for him that God would deliver him from a lot of the evil spirits that trying to take him out, okay? Let's go ride train, BobbieD, One Nation, a Groom of Love. Who said? He said, thing is, my daughter's mom knew I was very dangerous when it comes to my baby girl, especially to work out. Okay. So I think that's common with me. Most parents, especially men with their daughters, you don't want anybody messing with your daughter. I got 4 girls, man, and I was very adamant about anybody touching, being around who they were around and where they go. No sleepovers, none of that. I don't play that. Me and my ex-wife didn't play that. You know, so we're very protective. So I understand that, man. You can't be, especially with the girls. Ryan Train, who we got? Smooth, thank you, Jay. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Ryan Train, who we got? Smooth. Towards the general person, I am one of the most giving, kind-hearted persons you will ever meet, and I do my best to show all the love and kindness I can. There's nothing wrong with that, man. You want to be kind, and you want to be treat people right, but at the same time, you don't want to be nobody's fool. You don't want nobody taking advantage of you. Okay, so I'm a kind person too, but I don't stand for no mess. You know. Mama don't take no mess, and neither Bobbie don't take no. BobbieD don't take no mess. You know, that's how I do. That's how I was raised. That's how my mama raised me. That's how she prayed me. When you see me, you see a portion of my grandmother coming through the screen too, because that's how we telling me talk about people being brainwashed. That she done brainwashed me. We put it in me to treat people right. Be strong, be loving, be kind, be considerate, be helpful. But don't let nobody make a fool of you, okay? It's tough love. That's what she taught me. And that's how she brought me, okay? That's how she raised me. And that's how she praised me. Let's go run train, BobbieD, One Nation, a Groom of Love. Smooth, sir. He said, no, I was an actual cop at one time. Okay. I didn't know that. Okay. They wanted me to help them catch people that had $25 tickets. $25 ticket. And my hate for cops was too deep, so I left, okay? Let me digest this for a minute. Let me marinate this thing. He laid some stuff on me. He said, I was a cop. He was a cop, okay? What police force did you work for, man? What city was it? What time was it? Because I want to know. You might be somebody who gave me a ticket. I'm about to play. He said they wanted me to help them catch people that had $25 ticket. Okay. And my hate for cops was so deep that I like, okay. Good information. I didn't know that, man. Let's go around train. Who we got? Paramedics. He said, Sir Eyes, you sound like me, and I don't bother so, but I'll turn this mother out. Especially when it comes to my child. Yeah, me too, man. I used to be like that. Man, I'm kind of nice guy like that. You treat me right, I'm gonna treat you right. We good, man. You act the fool with me, I'm gonna act the fool. We're gonna look, man. What you say? No. But I've gotten better, man. As I got older, I used to be terrible as a kid, man, younger person. But as mature I get, the more reserved I get, and the more understanding I am, and the more laid back and communicative I am. Okay, that's how I am, man. I learned. You know, I went through a lot of stuff because I didn't know how to deal with certain situations. I would get upset and angry and want to take my anger out on others, just like these cops did. But I've gotten better than that. I don't do that anymore. And I'm praying that God would take that away from me totally, and that I would learn to be all loving all the time. And then only time they say something bad at me, then I want to slap them one time. Just make me slap them one time, Lord. That's it. Okay, now I'm just playing. Let's go around, tell everybody. You see what we got? Who? He said, oh, on a good point. I know if you saw the fried chicken I was telling you about. No, I didn't see the chicken, man. I gotta check out that chicken, man. It better be good, move. You put my name on it. It better be looking good. Or I better be tasting good more than looking good. Okay, man. I'm gonna check it out. Okay, Smooth. Good to see you, man. Hey, we got Ryan Chain, BobbieD. Who we got? Guy been the house. Guy. What's up, guy? Brother Guy been the house. He said thumbs up. Thank you, my brother. Good to see you, Ryan Chain, BobbieD. Thumbs up right back at you. Everybody hit the like button for me one time. 1, 2, 3. Chichapaya, 1, 2, 3. Chichapaya, can you hit the like button, please, sir? Please, ma'am. And if you have not subscribed to the channel. Let's go. Ryan Train, BobbieD, One Nation, the group of love. Smooth. He said, yes, sir, Mason. Got you, man. All right, man. It's been real. But we got to go. It's been a nice show today. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you guys for having this vital discussion of the things that's going down in the African American community, things that's going down in the city of Memphis and all over the world, especially in the United States of America. Brutality will not be tolerated. No matter if you're white, if you're black, it doesn't matter. If you're a cop and you do wrong, you have to pay the time. You have to pay the time for it. You got to pay the price for your wrongness. That's all there is to it. Now, these 5 ex-policemen, guilty? No, they're not guilty yet. They have to be proven guilty. Okay, it is the burden upon the state of Tennessee or the city of Memphis to prove that these men willfully beat up this young man and willfully wanted to kill him. Okay, they have to determine that that's what they intended to do. Now, the thing, you may not prove the murder charge, okay, but there are other charges that could be proven. They could prove that they violated his civil rights. That's why the FBI and the DOJ is on the scene like a sex machine. They're trying to determine was Tyre's civil rights abused, okay? And if it was, they're gonna get some federal charges on them too, okay? So we cannot jump to judgment, but we have to learn to wait for the results of the courts and the Department of Justice, and let the judicial system take its course so that we won't rush to judgment, just like many people have lynched African Americans because they rushed to judgment without seeking the truth. So our position is this: we know that our young man Tyre Nichols is gone. We have seen the video that showed he was beaten down brutally. This proves that there was police brutality. That's a crime. We saw that on the video. Okay. Now, police will say, well, he was trying to resist us. And when he resisted, our training says we must do whatever we can to subdue him. Okay. That's what they're going to say. And is that a good defense? Of course it is. Of course it is. That's what they're trained to do, and they did their training. He resisted according to them, and they did whatever they could to subdue him. But the second part is that they went over what they should have done to subdue him. because he was handcuffed with his hands behind his back, laying in the street. And as you saw on the videotape, they kicked him when he was down with his hands behind his back. Several of them kicked him over and over and over. They punched him in his face when he was stood up, and they had the two men held him like that, hand behind the back. One of the officers punched him repeatedly in the face. Okay, so that's brutality. So they're guilty based on what we saw on the video of excessive force. We know that to be true, and the jury will find that. If they're a good jury, they will find that to be true as well. We saw that. You cannot dispute they have a solid case on police brutality. Now, do they have a solid case on murder, second-degree murder? It's shaky, in my opinion. It's very, very shaky, because according to what I saw, there was some type of resistance, okay, initially. But they beat him so bad that he stopped resisting, okay? So some of the force was necessary, but they went over and above what the force level was to subdue that man. So I see them as being totally already guilty on police brutality. The other charges, kidnapping charge and some other charge, and murder charge. The murder charge is going to be hard. I'm going to be honest with you. That's going to be very, very difficult for the state to prove. The police brutality may not be that hard at all. The other possibility is that the district attorney could also come up with a manslaughter charge or attempted murder charge, something like that. Because the murder, second-degree murder, is going to be a little bit hard, but we don't know. Okay, so let's not rush to judgment. Only on the things we know for a fact. We know for a fact what we saw on the video was police brutality to some points in the video. Okay, so now we know that for a fact. Other parts of were they intending to kill him? I don't think they intended to kill him. I think they intended to mess him up. They intended to beat him, because when I told you, when you make a policeman run after you, they're gonna take it out on you when they're done. That's what I was raised up like. Cause I saw it over and over. I told you about the traumatic experience I had as a kid. Yeah. So this is what's happening in the world, and we got to deal with it. Hopefully, these men will will get a fair trial, and we will see what their verdict will be. It's going to be highly sought after viewed trial, and it's going to be publicized in the United States and all over the world as well. I think that's it. Is that it? Yeah. Freddie Macy said, God's got you, Sir Eyes. Sir Eyes, keep on, man. Keep you out in the pride. All right, got you, man. Yeah, Mason, yes, sir, I will. Right, got you, smooth out. All right, guys. It's been real. As far as me coming back again, I might be back. I don't know about tomorrow, but I'll probably be back Monday or Tuesday. We'll see. All right, guys, it's been real. This is BobbieD saying take care. God bless and peace. Pray for the family of the Nichols family and the mom and the stepdad. Pray that God will help them in their hour of bereavement, and that the city of Memphis will get through this time, as well as the United States of America. That's all for now. This is BobbieD saying take care. God bless. Peace. See you on the backside of tomorrow.